Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Irish Zone Live. I won't keep you as long today, but there are a couple of meetups, and I wanted to I know I've thrown up some videos, but it's always good to come on and actually talk about these things, give my own point of view, and then hopefully then, maybe some people will come to this. So there's two things happening this weekend of importance, especially coming into the winter with one of them, and the other one is in relation to Enoch Burke. So for any of you that don't know and have been living under a rock, Enoch Burke has been sent back to prison, and Fergus Power put up a post and called for people to assemble outside Mountjoy Prison this Saturday at 1 p.m. So I'll read the whole post. The whole post goes as follows. This Saturday, 1 p.m., Mountjoy Prison. The monumental stance Enoch Burke has taken against the satanic evil establishment that salvates over a twisted ideology that promotes the mutilation and sterilization of innocents should have support of the whole nation. This innocent Irishman has already sacrificed so much personally for the protection of all of your precious children. Please take time to show both him and his wonderful family the unwavering support from his people that so thoroughly deserves, and that they are not alone in this fight against such a perverted and depraved evil. And as I said, Enoch Burke stood up for the children. It's high time we all stood up for him. And that was from Fergus Power. So this Saturday, 1 p.m., I will be there. And I would encourage any person that can make it to Mountjoy jail to get there. It is very important. Hold on, Ted's at the knock. Ted, man, he's going to kill you. Look at Jack the Dillon. Ted. Right now, while I'm streaming, hold on, the dog's at the knocking over some. We got some plants grown. Well, when I say plants, I mean veg. I've got peppers on the go. There's a bit of lettuce on the go as well. You're gonna have to wait till that dries, buddy. Just don't. I'll mop this, but just wait. Sit up on your chair. Look. Here. Sit up on your chair. Nah. Good boy. Come on. Yeah. What other things to do, buddy? Come on. Anyway, so I'll be there. So I'd encourage everybody to try get there if they can. You know, as I said, he has spent over, what's it they say? It's over 200 days now at this stage. I mean, the lad has committed no crime. Yes, the left are saying that he's broke a court order, therefore he's committing a crime and all of this, but his only crime is the fact that he won't bow down to all of his ideology, and that's what the issue is here. So yous want to actually see him punished. Yous don't give a crap. But, you know, we've seen it recently with the educational system. There are plenty of people out there that do expose and highlight what the educational system is up to. And I hope to get some of those people on the channel to actually explain to you what's going on in the educational center, educational system. Obviously, we do see plenty of articles written about it, and people throw up stuff, including myself. But the nitty gritty, really getting down to the nooks and crannies of it, the so-called experts in this field, I'm going to try get a few of them on the channel to explain to you what's actually going on in the educational system. So this is an innocent man, right? He's an innocent man. While there are people walking the streets right now, and I'm not just talking about these illegal migrants, right? I'm talking about there's people out there, even of Irish nationality, that shouldn't be walking the streets right now, but they are, because the judges have been very lenient on them. Yeah, when it comes to respecting someone's religious beliefs. And let's be rest assured that if this was a Muslim teacher or a teacher of a different faith, this wouldn't even be happening in this country. Okay, just want to make that absolutely clear. Right, this is why it's important to support this man. Listen, you know, the bottom line is that the left in this country and wherever they've been, you know, they talk about the flag, they talk about the anthem, they talk about our history, and then they try to kind of, you know, they try to revise it to suit their narrative, as you know, right? And then they get into your culture, they deconstruct all of that. And this is just another facet of all of this. And this is why it's important to stand with this man and his family. You know, the bottom line is, you know, as I've said, what's baffling to me is why the school has taken so long to make a decision. Then there has to be something else behind this. And I certainly believe there is. I think they want to financially cripple, the state want to financially cripple this family. And they will keep this going through the court, and the school as well, dragging their feet. Like, so this Saturday, 1 p.m, Mountjoy Prison, or Mountjoy Jail, wherever you want to call it. We just used to call it a Joy. Do you remember that show that RTE did a few years back, when RTE actually put out decent content, and they actually had a show on Mountjoy Prison and the inner workings of it? It was actually very interesting, it was. But people need to be there to support them. I even seen the presenter on News Talk, you know, and I don't like News Talk. I fucking hate them, can't stand them. I think they're the worst culprits in the media out there. Obviously, RTE is top dog, but they come very close. But even they're like, their presenters are saying there has to be a better way to deal with this. I know how they'd like to deal with it anyway, you know, because they're lefty twats. Like they'd just make that family disappear. Like, do you know what I mean? But the bottom line is, this isn't going away. So how you deal with this, and I'll say to every media outlet out there and everybody out there that has a different opinion on this and thinks the state is right and the courts are right. The bottom line is that the courts and the courts were actually following the Constitution, right? They were upholding it, right? This wouldn't even be a thing, and that's what the issue is here, right? It's a constitutional right that's being denied, right? So if you want this to go away, then you grant him his constitutional right. right? And it's according to his religious beliefs, he believes that the gender you're born is the gender you are. End of story, right? That's it, right? And people are entitled. Did you notice how it's funny, right? How Irish people, right, their rights are being encroached on, but then all of these other people come into our country and then start dictating about their rights, and then they end up having more rights than we actually do in our own countries. Like it's funny, isn't it? That, as I said, this wouldn't be happening if this was the Muslim faith and there was a Muslim teacher. This wouldn't even be a case, right? The government, nothing would be happening, right? There'd be no complaint. That teacher wouldn't be sacked. Blah 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 blah. We all know how it play out. So while there have been people, while he was incarcerated, the first time and then the second, while there has been people there, there's never been a big gathering, I don't think, since the early days. There needs to be a big gathering now for him and his family. So if you can get here, 1 o'clock, Mountjoy. I know it might be short notice for people that live around the country, but if you can make it, please try and get there. It's very important that there's some form of solidarity shown, because it's absolutely disgraceful. This goes down. We go down a route that, well, we're going down that route anyway, but we're living in very dangerous times in this country. Oh, yeah. I did it on the other channel, but I must have forgot to do it here, but I will indeed. Absolutely. That's my bad. Don't worry about it. There you go. It should be sorted now. Sorry about that. My fault. I did it on the other one. I just forgot to do it here. But it's done now. But yeah, look, it's important that everybody that can get there gets there, and that's at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Now, there is something else going on, obviously, the weekend as well. This Friday, I think it's this Friday. Hold on. I did put up the post, so just bear with me for a second. Friday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Wake Up Era is doing an information drop outside the Rotunda Hospital in relation to the thing that YouTube won't let us talk about. And as you know, the Rotunda Hospital is obviously where babies are born. And I will be there as well. I'm actually meeting someone there as well, which is brilliant. But there's an information drop, because what Wake Up Era have been doing for the last couple of years is they've been gathering the data in relation to this whole thing. And what they have found, right, it's actual data, right, so it can't be disputed, has shown that people need to wake up, basically Wake Up Era, wake up and pay attention. And that's what I can say without getting into trouble on YouTube. But basically, there's an information drop. So anybody that's going in and out of the hospital, if they want to take a leaflet, just like we did outside the GPO, and then we marched to News Talk, where a letter was handed in. And then, of course, we were recently outside RTE HQ, and now we're doing this one here at the Rotunda. So again, if you can get there this Friday, I know these are all short notice, but unfortunately, this is another reason why a lot of these things are being put out at short notice, is because, we have found if we put things out way ahead of time, then it gives the state and all of those that want to make us look bad the opportunity to actually do that. And then you have incidents like Coolock, Newtown, Mount Kennedy, and stuff like that. So, you know, everything has to be, you know, just even a couple of days in advance rather than given the week's notice and a few weeks or months notice as they used to give. They can't do that anymore. So that's why I'm basically on. So because I know people will watch this video, watch this stream, and then they'll be able to pass on the message. So if you're able to get there Friday from 11 a.m. to 12:30, it'll be an hour and a half, and they do normally finish, you know, roughly around the time. If not, you know what Irish people are like I'll get there on time and a couple of others will get there on time, but a few will be late, you know, because a lot of them do have to find parking and then get the equipment, because obviously a few people do talk. So we'll probably be wrapped up and all by 1, I'd say. So if you can get there, and if you believe the country needs to wake up in relation to, you know, the COOF, then be there. But these are the kind of things, you know, these are the places where, you know, need to be highlighted, because a lot of, let's be honest, we're still reeling from that. We're still going to find out horrible things in relation to that, and all of the other stuff that goes with it, the corruption, the cover-ups, and all of this other stuff. And it's not, listen, we're going to be dealing with this whole thing for decades to come, because obviously there's been a mental health crisis as well, which has happened. Like, it's a global thing. Like, this thing fucked up a lot of people mentally. So everybody's been dealing with some form of mental health issue. So, you know, it's important to highlight these things. And especially, you know, look, I was on that news talk one, and I do remember I was marching, and some people were looking at you like you had 10 heads, like, because unfortunately a lot of the population has been duped, you know. And I think there's a reluctance as well from some to actually, you know, wake up, you know, or accept that there might have been some dodgy stuff at play. Of course there was, but they done such a good job of fear and manipulating the Irish public that unfortunately it worked. And that's the scary thing about this. And, you know, it was funny because at this news talk one that we were at, obviously there were rumblings about this Mpox thing. And I remember Adele saying it, that in September they would ramp this up. And what's happened? I know we're only in September, but what's been happening in the last couple of weeks? They've been ramping this all up. And her thing was, when she did her speech, she said it was to get you all to line up again to get that one. Right? So, you know what? Wake Up Era does some great work. They've actually have been ahead on this. And if you just want to find out more, there are plenty of people that are there that'll be able to talk to you and tell you what's going on. They also have a website as well, of the same name. And as I said, it will be an information drop. So if members of the public want to take a leaflet and want to read it, and then it obviously, it's not one of these things where you read a leaflet and that's it. You just take it at face value, right? There'll be links to go to where it'll show you the actual raw data, right? And that's what this is how you win these fights, right? Especially with this thing, is raw data is the most important. And once you have the raw data, then that's fact. You can't dispute the raw data. and that's what they present. And I can tell you from what I've heard and what's being read out and what I've seen would absolutely shock you. Would absolutely shock you. This is the biggest scandal. Listen, I frame. No, I'm not. Frame is the wrong word. To me, the two biggest crimes of humanity, to me right now, is the gender ideology on kids and this whole thing with the COOF. The biggest crimes against humanity. That's what I believe they are. Right? And there should be more. See, this is the thing as well, with all the stuff that's going on in their country with mass migration, the government not giving a fuck. It's a global thing as well. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but that whole thing I've come to realize is just a distraction. It's just a distraction to keep us from paying attention to what they have done to us over the last few years. Because when you start to dig, and you don't even have to dig that far, and you've seen it that people that do dig and go down these rabbit holes expose a lot of stuff. Right? But as soon as you start digging, and they don't want you to be digging, they want you to keep being distracted. And they will literally fuck up countries to do it. So, two important meetups. If you can get to either one, I'll be there for the two of them. But if you can get to either one, that'll be absolutely fantastic. You know, these are the type of things, you know, obviously need to be highlighted, you know, and getting behind Enoch Burke actually and his family makes a lot of sense. If you think about if he wins his case, right, if we can get public support behind him and the public change their opinion on him and they actually find out the truth about him. The one thing I did notice, right, is when the Enoch Burke thing, when he got arrested again, I noticed a lot of accounts on X that were seeing Enoch Burke for the first time, like properly speaking, right? Just speaking. Anytime they've seen him on the news where he's been either arrested or whatever, or he's just standing outside the school making him look like a weirdo. But for the first time, a lot of people got to hear him speak. Those sitting on the fence or those that just didn't give a crap. And a lot of them were saying the same thing. He should have his rights respected. Like, it's not as if he's asking for much. It's a constitutional right to hold these religious beliefs. And he's being denied that. And a lot of people are seeing it. And a lot of things, and another thing that came across as well was the fact that a lot of people thought he was this right-wing nutball. And he said he came across very reasonable and he put his case across very well. And this is the thing. If RTE were to actually properly interview him, he would break that narrative within the first couple of minutes. But they don't want that narrative to be broken. Right? They don't want that narrative to be broken. So I can guarantee you that when people do turn up to support them, they will use that against them. But the thing about it is, we got to stand with him. He wins his case. This is an important step against the left in this country. Right? It'll be an important, because it'll open up a whole can of worms. It'll open up a whole debate. Right? And I'm telling you, it's not going to be fucking pretty. But that's what we need. We need conversation in this country because the left have shut it down for so long. We need people like Enoch Burke. And as I said the other day, right, when he was being arrested on the other channel, I said it out straight This man has more backbone than any of the nationalists that are running or asking you to vote for them. That man is willing to put his neck on the line, and he's willing to go to jail on principle and on his beliefs. Can you say the same about any of these nationalists? After Herman Kelly bashing people on the space, like airing their dirty laundry in public for everybody to see again. Right? Not one of those motherfuckers, and I can guarantee you, would do what that man's doing. Right? They wouldn't put themselves in a position. And this is what I said to people. Like, if they're not willing to do that, then why should we trust them? And if they're calling voters, right, and they're calling people that are, right, because basically what you're doing is, if you're slagging someone in the nationalist movement and you're saying they're of low IQ and they're criminals and all of that, well then, you're saying that the people that vote for them are basically the same. That's what you're saying. You're basically saying that the voters are scumbags of these people because they're people that vote for them. So that's not a good look. But not one of them would do what Enoch Burke is doing. And that's the point I've been trying to hammer home. Right? We backed the wrong fucking horses. Now, Enoch doesn't want to get into politics because I heard a lot of nationalists, he needs to get into politics. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's forced love is teaching. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to do anything else. That's why he's standing outside the fucking school. He doesn't want to get involved in politics. He could have got involved in politics a very long time ago. This is not political to him. This is personal. This is the country. The High Court's not upholding his constitutional right, the freedom to express his religious beliefs, because of the ideology of the left in this country. That's why this man is being persecuted. And not one of these people will put their, no, this is the man you all should be getting behind, even if he's not political. This is the man. These are the type of men you need in your country, and the type of women that you need in your country that are willing to put their necks on the fucking line, right? And risk jail time. And risk the jail time. Yeah, it's horrible leaving your family or whatever, but that's what we have to do to win this fight. Over in England, they're locking up people willy-nilly, innocent people. Right, some of them may have committed some sort of fucking crime, but to get the sentence that they've gotten, absolutely ridiculous. They're making an example of them over there, right? They're just locking them up for any old fucking thing. Right? And look, they'll run out of prison space, right? So what will happen? Well, Keir Starmer's already said it, hasn't he? He's going to let out all the scumbags, isn't he? And he's just going to fill it with people that have probably said something online or whatever, or made a passing comment or, right? So they might do the same here, but we're not like England. We do not have the prison space. We don't. Sure, they've been begging to build a new prison. They've been actually the governments, successive governments, have said that they're going to build a new prison, but it never materializes. Now all of a sudden they're going to get the funds to build a prison. Right, so that's what will happen. They let all the scumbags out, right? We'll all take their place, right? But they'll run out of prison space. This guy, listen, as soon as the Irish government here starts doing what the British, listen, it's being allowed let go in England, and I don't know why, but I know if it happened in Ireland and innocent people start getting locked up left, right, and centre, I think there would be action in this country. I really do. I don't think the Irish people would tolerate what's happening in England. I know some people say it's worse over here, but our government, yeah, okay, Enoch Burke, right? There's a couple of others probably that have been silenced by thrown in jail, but they're not throwing everybody in willy-nilly right now. Right now, we still have a little bit of time. But that's the whole point. You know, Enoch Burke is a bright light in dark days in this country. And what he is doing, he is standing up to the establishment for all of us. For all of us. That's what he's doing. For all of us. Not just for our children, but for all of us. So, again, I would advise people to be there if you can. You know, how long more does this man have to stay in jail for before people say, ah, hang on? I mean, they should have said, hang on already. It's been over 200 days or something, 240 odd or whatever it is, right? So you add whatever they're going to add on, and I think that's going to be another 4 weeks because he's back in front of the judge in 4 weeks' time, right? And then, of course, we know he's not going to back down, so the judge is going to throw him back in prison. So are we going to go another Christmas? Because that's what it'll be, because he was in jail, he was in prison for 2 Christmases. Are we going to allow him and not do that and fight for him to get out? You know what I mean? He's going to be locked up again. He's not getting out of prison, by the way, this time. He won't get out because he's not backing down. This man is never backing down. His family are never backing down. These are the type of people that I've been saying that inspire others, right? It's not necessarily about leaders, but at the same time, you do need people to look to get the rest going. And this is what the Burke family is doing. And this is an important fight. It really, truly is. It's been 400 days, says Paddy Mac. 400. So that's over what? That's 400 days, 365 days in a year. So it's a year and well, it's going to be a year and 4 months now. You add on these extra 5 weeks, 3 months. Well, hold on, 1 year, 3.5 maybe. I mean, and what's his crime? Standing outside the school. I just want to make that clear. Right, people say it's the court order. He's not allowed outside the school. Fine, but he's standing outside the school. He's not inciting violence. He's not doing anything. He's standing outside a school, and he's in prison. Meanwhile, as I said, he's in prison while the scumbags out in the street that have been let off by judges for committing heinous crimes. Some that don't even live in this fucking country or were born in this country committing crimes like are out walking the streets. This fella stands outside the school. It's a damning indictment on this government. It's a damning indictment on the court system. It's a damning indictment how far this country has truly fallen. It is so disconnected with its people. It's unbelievable. And then Simon Harris has the cheek. Now, I haven't brought up about, obviously, I put a post up about the bike shed, but I'm not going to milk it like you know, Gavin Pepper and all of these other people for clicks. The bottom line is that this is not the first time. Like, he's giving out about bike shed. You should have been giving out about all the other shits all over the years that we wasted money on, right? This is not the first time that the Irish government have wasted money. And forget about a bike shed. You should go down to St. James's, right, where they're building the children's hospital. That's what, 3 times over fucking budget and still isn't complete. That's what you need to be bitching and moaning about, right? That's what you need to be bitching and moaning about. We need another hospital. We've needed another hospital for fucking decades, especially a children's hospital, a specialised fucking hospital, right? And I know we have Temple Street Hospital and all of those other hospitals, but this one was going to be the marquee one. Right? I mean, it is disgraceful that they spent 300 and whatever it was thousand on the state of it, for God's sake. I mean, the state of it. I mean, but here's the thing. Whoever approved that, whoever actually signed that document to actually build that bike shed, right? And everybody that was part of the decision process making and picking the company that built this should be all fired ASAP. Right? Okay, now you think the hospital would be the tipping point for everybody, but no, it seems to be this bike shed. And I know, fair enough, it's small and the price, and it's more expensive than a fucking house apparently. Blah 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 blah. Right, but that children's hospital's been there for years now, getting built, and nobody's back. You know what I mean? Fuck off. Priorities are wrong. Nobody organising that and that, and you know what I mean? These lads have all gone quiet. But they all show up at a hoolie a couple of last weekend or something. They're all at a hoolie. Great. Where's the manifesto? Right? And then he's outside all there doing his stupid little video. Yeah, where's the manifesto? Like, seriously, man. I just don't. I just don't get people. We're literally being replaced. We're being replaced. Is gobshites. And then when I heard Herman Kelly talk, do you know what the fascinating thing for me was? It wasn't the fact that he actually, started slagging everybody off. We all knew he was a bit of a fucking snake anyway, right? So it was verified. But I thought the funny thing was his delusion that people need to get up off their armchairs and vote, right? Listen, you clown. And just like all the other clowns that come out with the same narrative, we're not voting our way out of this because you can't even organise a wake, let alone organise yourselves as a fucking unified fucking front, right? All you have done the past few weeks is bitch and moan in spaces at one another, right? Areas are dirty laundry, and then we have delusional people saying, "Oh, we're going to do well. We're going to do well in the election." You aren't doing well in the election. I'm telling it straight. I'm not doom and gloom. I'm telling you how I see it, right? You ain't doing well in the general election. And as I said, people that are with the Irish Freedom Party, right? If you want a chance of actually getting anywhere in this general election, I would jump ship. Jump ship or oust him, Herman Kelly, as party leader, because as long as he's party leader and he's head of the brand, as he calls it, right? You are getting fucking nowhere with him. Fucking nowhere. Actually, this nationalist movement's not going to do as well as it thinks it's going to do. And you know what? Maybe it's the reality check that they'll probably need to cop onto them fucking selves. But then it'll be too late because people like me and others in this whole community here have been saying this for fucking the last couple of years. So I'll keep going back to you have to do things for yourselves in this country. And as you've seen yourselves, Fergus laid out his plans for the security company, which is non-profit. He laid it all out. It's within the law. The left are kind of going mad about it, but he's actually gone and done the research on all of this, and he's done things properly, and it's going to be done properly. But it's not a business. There is no profit. It's non-profit, and that's the most important. Anybody that signs up will be a volunteer, right? You'll be volunteering to secure your community within the confines of the law, right? It's a great idea. It's a great idea. And this is what has to be happening all across the country. Do you remember years ago, right? Some of us are old enough to remember, neighborhood watches, right? They were a real thing. They actually happened back in the day, especially during the 90s of the drug epidemic, especially with the heroin. There was community watch, right? There was even vigilantes out there back in the day, right? If people were suspected of doing any sort of illegal activity in properties, they were dealt with, basically. They were kicked out, never to come back. Simple as that. Right? But they also had mothers and fathers that were walking around these areas at night time, making sure that there was no activity. And even during the day, the parents would be out watching their kids playing, watching them like hawks, right? It was just the way it was. We need to go back to those times, unfortunately, because that's how dangerous it's gotten. Because here's the reality, folks, right? This government's getting back in again, right? It might be under a new coalition, right? But the two main parties will form that coalition with other parties, right? It probably won't be the Greens this time, probably be the Social Democrats, it could be Labour, whoever, right? But it'll be a new government. They've ruled out working with Sinn Féin. So Sinn Féin is being excluded again. So it'll be the other parties, right? We've got 5 more years of this. That's the reality, right? So when I hear these clowns on Spaces, maybe half drunk, you know, saying get up off your armchair and vote, well, then you're living in cuckoo land. You're delusional. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody not to vote. That's the thing. That's the thing with me. That's why I put up the register to vote thing, because I do believe that if people still believe in the voting system, what right do I have to tell people they can't vote, or they shouldn't vote, I should say. So I put it up for the people that still believe in it, are still going to vote, right? So I put that video up, and I put the link in the description there for the register to vote thing. If you want to register to vote, that's up to you yourselves. But this nationalist movement should have been doing a lot more than what it's doing. They think the protests are good enough, and those people that turn up at protests are going to change and swing the vote. It's not going to happen. You need to be doing it now. I know there's individuals from these parties that are working in their communities and are working in their communities 24/7. They have a hope of getting in because they're there 24/7. But overall, if you look at the picture, the nationalist picture right now, who can you say for certainty is a cert to get in the next general election? I think after the local elections and the European elections, we probably would have named names off our tongue. But since then, we've seen what's happened. Can anybody now just name people off their tongue? I mean, as I said, I voted Nationalist Party, right? I won't be voting Nationalist Party this time round, right? So they didn't do enough to keep me as a voter, and they haven't impressed me, to be quite honest with you. Again, part of this whole airing your dirty laundry in public, and I'm not for that. You guys are asking us for a vote. Show a bit of decorum, please. You know, the end of the day, if you have a problem or an issue with each other, you know, you sort that shit out behind closed doors, and you don't let your voter fucking see what's going on. See, this is the problem. Do you know what? The Democrats, right, over in America, look what they did. Look at all they did for Joe Biden, right? We all knew that man shouldn't be there, right? They even got the media to lie about how healthy he was and all of this other nonsense, right? That's how far they went, right? To fucking stay in fucking power, right? So be under no illusion, right? There's going to be tactics and all at play here from the government and the left. And I'm telling you now, the one thing, if you are still interested in the election, by the way, right? Okay, and you're interested in getting involved, you know, you want to be keeping an eye on these ballots and where they're going, by the way, because there's a lot of dodgy shit going on during our election, and it's clear that there was dodgy shit going on in those local and European elections. So people would be naive to think that our election, listen, you know, it's probably, you know, it's a rigged system already, and then they rig it again by, you know, whatever they were doing. It's, but my point is that under these people, right, even if they were to get their act together, you know, it's too late. It's too late. There's still another 10 years of whatever government, you know, but it's not nationalists. Like, it's like as if nationalists have kind of conceded defeat, if you think about it. I'm talking about these ones asking for your vote, not us. But they have. They know that they're not going to make much of an impact, and that's why there's not much of an effort, really. And that's why they're putting out the stupid little videos, and that's why we haven't had the manifesto yet, because, you know, they can't be arsed. They know. They know. They're just not telling all you guys that they know. They put up this facade. Oh, yeah, get up off your vote for us. It would be great. So the people of this country have to, you know, and communities, we all need to come together in this country. We need to, you know, revitalize our culture as well. There needs to be a rebirth in this country, and it starts in communities. You know, unfortunately, the left are in the have infiltrated the educational system. See, this is again, you know, if the Nationalists had got their act together, yeah, okay, there'll probably be another 5 years of this government, and that wouldn't be ideal. But if we had a crystal ball and we knew for a fact there'd be a nationalist government in place 5 years after that, then we'd probably have a chance. But even then, it's too late, because we don't even have. This is so complicated, man. Because nobody's going to fight, no matter what. Nobody's going to fight, right? I mean, you know, there was a little bit of a scuffle after the three children got sharp objects, and you know, the media and the people in this country, just fucking the left, I should say, absolutely flipped and called it a riot. It was a bit. Listen, that wasn't a riot. I mean, it kind of was, but if you look at the true sense, it wasn't really a riot. You know, a riot. If they really wanted to riot, trust me, they would have took the whole lot down. But they didn't. And then it would have continued for the next few days. The Irish people just don't have the fight in them anymore, right? For a couple of hours, yeah, wreck the shop, and then after that, they'll just get back to their lives, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. But look, as I said, I'll keep throwing up those things as well. Look, whether you believe in the vote or not, I'll throw that stuff up. I'll throw other stuff up, like I've been throwing other stuff up. I'm not going, as I said, it's not my place to tell anybody, or, you know, I might have my opinions on it. You know, do I think voting is going to work now? I don't. I have to agree with some people that have said it. You know, all right, might have took me a little bit longer to get to that conclusion than others, but we're not voting our way out of this. And the Nationalists don't have a plan, folks. They actually don't have a plan. And if you just listen to that full clip, and you listen to Herman at the start, you can tell that they're all living in cuckoo land. They're living in cuckoo land. They actually think that they can make a difference in the election. And I don't see it, because the shit show that's on display. I mean, he's even did it in public at Garda HQ. He couldn't keep his dirty laundry out of the public, and you had Garda sniggering at us, right? So, I mean, it's just incident after incident after incident. And then you have people doing spaces on rival factions. And this is what's happening. Rival nationalists now are in doing spaces against each other. It's actually truly pathetic, to be quite honest with you. They're acting like a bunch of school children. And these are the very same people that want you to give them your vote when the general election comes along. I'm telling you now, right? The reason why the people of Ireland will vote in the same old is because they will see the shit show that is the nationalist movement. But not only that, you haven't given the Irish people a viable option. because you haven't done enough to get that message out there either. Yes, I get it that the nationalist movement is severely underfunded, but there are things that you could utilise a lot more than just social media. It could get out there into the hearts of the communities like some of our candidates are doing, right? But you only go to high profile things to have you as our face in the newspapers or on the film for the 15 minutes of fame, as I call it, right? You only show up at the big ones, and then as soon as the big ones are all gone, we don't see you then for another couple of months until you call another one, right? And then in the meantime, then, you know, places like Clonmel, as I said, will get planted, and other places. And now a place in Cork, the corn market in Cork now has been earmarked as well. So, you know, it's going to continue, and these people don't have a plan. So you have to start doing stuff in these communities for yourselves. You know, you got people, as I said, you know, Fergus is doing that thing in Ballybrack. Whether it'll be a success or not, it to me is besides the point. He's trying to do something, and you know, he's not kidding around. Like he's gotten all the information. He's just waiting for the name to be accepted now, and if the name is accepted, he can move ahead with it. And once he moves ahead with it, hopefully then that will encourage other communities out there to do the same, you know. Or maybe what will end up happening is, and hopefully it does, you know, maybe, you know, it'll spread out. Fergus's little idea, it will spread out, and you know, he'll be able then, and other people then that are helping him will be able to direct people into the communities that need it. And it'll be an apt look at to even have a presence on the street, right? People in uniform, presence on the street, right, will make a huge difference, right? What have people been calling for? Remember, after the incident, he had Gardaí all over the place, and people were saying they felt safer. You do feel safer if there's more of a presence, especially if the country is getting as dangerous as ours. So if there's a presence on the street that locals can see, and they feel it feels a lot safer, and they're able to go about their daily business, not worry about their kids, all of this, then job done. Job done. And again, then focus goes back on the Gardaí, right? Because then people are saying, well, why can't the Gardaí do what these people are doing? Right? Because Gardaí always big up this community officer shite, right? I remember even back in my day, oh yeah, community officers. You never fucking seen them. You never fucking seen them, right? They show up once in a blue moon, right? They have to be a constant presence there all the time. And especially the times when, listen, they have statistics and all this, and they can tell when most crimes are committed and all of this, and the times and all of this shit, right? So you have to guard a presence there all the time, especially at those peak times, right? That's how you make a difference, right? But the Gardaí are not doing that. So someone else has decided to take the initiative upon himself, and that's what he's doing. Now, I know there are other groups out there already, right? But this is the legal way of doing it. This will be within the law. They will have a license. The people that are currently doing it, I'm not knocking them, but that's vigilante style, right? Okay, they're the tactics that we employed back then. As I said, with the concerned persons against drugs and all of that, can we kind of use that today? Well, maybe in some communities, you probably will have to use those type of tactics, right? But not in all communities. So things like this are a good idea. And it's all above board, and it's legal, and it's non-profit. Nobody makes a profit. Everybody's a volunteer. Right, you have to get a license as well. You can't just like go up to the fair and say, "Oh yeah, I want to join." you'll have to go and get your security license. You will have to do your test. And then, of course, the safety training and all of that other nonsense that goes with security training, because I've done it before. I've even done the security training with the guard dogs as well. Doesn't take long, but you still have to do it. And once you do it, you get your license, and your license then to do security. And that's exactly what we need to be doing, securing our communities. So I'm all for it. I will absolutely support this 100%. And when he gets the initiative going, guys, I would ask us to get behind it. You know, even if, you know, you might think it'd be fruitless, you know, the more support it gets, you never know. Look, it starts. So this is what the whole point is. People are trying stuff. They're going down every avenue because they feel helpless, and they're trying anything. And I will never knock anybody trying that. And that's why I brought those two ladies on that was asking people to vote. I know that some people don't agree with it, and I don't. I even said I don't think we're voting our way out of it, right? But the bottom line is those women are trying to do something. Fergus is trying to do something. There are other people out there that I know that are trying to do something. And that's what we've got to do, because our government, look at, they've already shown, right? They don't give a shit, and they never will, right? So we're the Irish people. We live on this land. We live on this island. It shouldn't be our responsibility to look after everybody on this island and our land. That's our government's job. But you know what? It's better to have the people of the country do it rather than the establishment. You know, I'm a firm believer of people power anyway. You know, I know power can corrupt some, but I am a firm believer that, you know, communities should be in control of their own communities and should have a veto and have a say who comes into their communities. I strongly believe in local democracy as well. You know, just like the Water Grass Hill referendum, some people poke fun even on the nationalist side about that referendum. But the bottom line is that the people of that town were exercising their right, their democratic right. We always talk about bringing power back to the people, and then as soon as someone tries to do it and shows initiative on doing it, it's slagged off by some on the nationalist movement. It's bad enough that the left slagged them off, but then to have people that are apparently on your side slag it off, like, I mean, you know, then I'd say, well, what's your motive? Are you not for local democracy? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Power back to the people. It's the only way. Anyway, look, that's all I really have to say on all of that now. But I will be there outside the Rotunda with Wake Up Era as they do their information drop. And then also then outside Mountjoy on Saturday, 1 p.m. And if you can get to any of those meetups, please do. Because, you know, we have to definitely show solidarity with the Bucks, and the stuff outside the Rotunda, in my opinion as well, is a very important issue. And, you know, because YouTube is so, listen, you know, if I was on Rumble, which I am, but the channel, I can't use it. It's a disaster. But if I was able to use it, I would. But I can't say too much on YouTube, because YouTube are just absolutely bad when it comes to this. But what's happened all around the world in relation to that jab, in my opinion, is a crime against humanity. So this is an important leaflet drop. And as I said, information drop. As I said, you know, we've done news talk. You know, we were outside the GPO first, and went to news talk, RTE, HQ. I know there's been there was one outside Tala Hospital a couple of weeks back as well. Listen, these guys are on the move all the time. Now, I will be, obviously, now that I know there's more meetups coming up, I will be going on those Wake Up Era ones, because, you know, I'm obviously, you know, I obviously didn't get the jab, but not everybody in my family, you know, did the same as me. They all got it. So I'm the only one, like, didn't. So, you know, I'm aware of what's going on out there. And, you know, I feel like I have to be there and, you know, listen to people. And as I said, the last time I was there, you know, outside the GPO, I heard some people's stories, absolutely horrendous. You know, it was a very humbling experience, I've got to say. You know, to see how this, I have to be careful, but to see what the consequence of that thing was. So yeah, be there if you can for any of them. If you're there, obviously I'll see you there. But for now, look after yourselves, and I will be back on Get It Off Your Chest on Friday, as you know. So come and join me for that. But yeah, thank you for joining me here as well. I really do appreciate it. And I will talk to you again very soon, guys. So yeah, have a good one. Bye bye.